Hi, I'm Shelly Palmer, and welcome to Media 3.0. I'm here with Lydia Loizides and Joe Laszlo, and we're talking about the year of online video. Lydia, it's the year of self-expression. Express yourself.
Where to begin? Is it the G-rated version or the X-rated version? This is what we have to ask.
The beautiful thing is it's any version you want it to be.
Yeah, it really was an explosive year, primarily where you saw consumers finally taking advantage of technology that arguably has been around for about the last 18 to 24 months. You saw valuations go up, you saw media companies get interested. We haven't figured out how we're going to make money, but it was an explosive year in that you saw the average internet user really start to use those tools.
Joe?
Yeah, I think so too, although it is interesting in the face of Time magazine naming you as the person of the year that a lot of the tools are still in the early stages of adoption. And so, only about 8% or so people say they post up video online. Only about 8% or so people say they keep a weblog right now. But everybody's aware that people are doing that. And I think that level of general awareness and the consumption of media that's being created by still a relatively few ordinary folks is really the sea change.
You know what's important about that, though, is that it's becoming a language. There's a sort of a grammar of the doing of life now, where you used to write English and you had to learn to write a letter, then you had to learn to write an email, then you had to learn to write an SMS, and now you have to learn to include an encapsulated video of something that you find emotive or important to you and your circle of friends or community of interest.
Well, I think that is really interesting. All of the folks that run user-generated content sites are observing that how fast people, amateurs, are latching on to editing video. It's not just raw footage that's getting submitted anymore. There are titles now, there's soundtracks. And so I think you're absolutely right. The tools are now out there not just to make stuff and throw it online, but to actually make stuff that looks good and tries to tell a story.
And the other thing also is to look at, Pew had just released that study on broadband usage. And if you look at broadband users, it's not just the 18 to 24. Right? It's the 24 to 35, it's the 35 to 45, it's the 45 to 55. The groups are, the behavior is spreading into demographics that we really had never seen before. So whereas you saw women, for example, who are generally the digital photography keepers, are now doing things like Flickr, are now putting them up in a more interactive way. You're seeing
and yet they're also the offline
different.
Scrapbookers, so they're using a whole set of new tools, right?
Exactly.
I've got learning about scrapbooking online, scrapbooking offline, and then going back and putting my scrapbooking examples online. It's
online.
a kind of a new demographic for the internet.
Really, they are communities of, especially on the scrapbookers, communities of women who have been coming together for years and years and now taking that and sharing that in an online community. It's just it's a social network that is just taking itself online.
And there's also then a new currency that goes with this. We talk about the value that's created on the internet, but truly the hard part is creating that value and or translating that value into wealth. And so the currency of the internet has sort of become fame, and now we have to trade in fame or levels of fame. We can't trade necessarily in cash, because cash isn't necessarily changing hands.
Right. I think that's going to be one of the big challenges for online publishers and internet producers in the next year is the fact that there is a finite pool of talented people out there. And with companies like Rever saying, don't go to YouTube because we'll pay you for your user-created video, I think they are going to start to change from just fame to wealth again as the currency. And some people will always do it for just so everybody can see them. But other people really will start to think,
but now everybody can. Right? For the first time ever, everybody can do it just because they can see them. The barrier to entry is astoundingly close to zero.
Right, but that's one revenue approach. The other revenue approach is really from the advertising side. And if you look at these small social networks or niche networks that are being created around extremely passionate, extremely expressive people around a thing, dogs, cats, kids, whatever your hobby is, this is a wealth of not only information, but a really good advertising opportunity for the brand advertisers to really go in and target their key customers. The question is, can those networks support that? And will those users, if not done in a very calculated way, will those users bolt?
So is there something I need to watch for this year?
Definitely. I think one, the most talented people rising to the top and either kind of being pulled into the old media world, or else more and more kind of demanding payment from new media for their work. And then everybody else, I think Lydia is absolutely right. Everybody else sort of following their passions as opposed to just going straight to YouTube.
Lydia,
yeah,
something to watch?
I think you're going to see fragmentation. I think you're going to see niche social networks become far more interesting to traditional media as well as to advertisers, because it's a place they can go. They know they can directly get to that core audience.
And that's really this segment today about personal expression. We expect to see your work online. For Media 3.0 and Joe Laszlo and Lydia Loizides, I'm Shelly Palmer. We'll see you next time.